There are voices you hear once and never forget. And then there are lives, quiet, steady, and anointed, that leave an imprint far deeper than applause ever could. This is the story of Chris Allman, a man whose journey with music began in the pews of a small-town church and now stretches across nations through the timeless sound of Southern gospel. Born in 1969 in Burlington, North Carolina, but raised in Jefferson, Chris grew up with a front-row seat to ministry. The son of a pastor, he was deeply immersed in the life of the church. But it wasn't just sermons and Sunday school that captured his heart. It was the music. In one unforgettable Easter morning, at just 11 years old, backed by the adult choir, Chris sang his very first solo. That moment wasn't just a memory, it was a calling. Harmony came naturally to him. It was like breathing. And by age 16, alongside his sister, Chris formed a group called the Allmans, singing in churches around the region. 2 albums soon followed, Just Getting Started and Mama Allman's Favorites, a tribute to the cherished hymns of the church and the deep spiritual roots of their family. But the real spark ignited in the recording studio, where Chris found not just a place to sing, but a place to create. That passion still burns bright over 30 years later.
I give glory to your name, oh Lord, glory to your name, oh Lord, for your name is great and greatly to be praised. I give glory to your name, oh Lord, glory to your name, oh Lord, for your name is great and greatly to be praised. Yes, your name is great and greatly to be praised.
At just 21, Chris was invited to join a newly formed trio called Gaither Vision, a group that would go on to define excellence in gospel harmony. For 5 incredible years, Chris helped shape their early sound, not just as a tenor, but also as a songwriter, pouring out his heart and faith into every lyric. But then came a shift. With a young family of 5, Chris made the sacrificial decision to step away from the road. He pursued a solo ministry for 7 years, sharing his testimony and music wherever God led. But life has a way of shifting course, sometimes suddenly. The passing of his father deeply impacted him. In that season of grief and reflection, Chris moved his family back to North Carolina. But out of sorrow came a new assignment, planting a church and pastoring the very community that had once nurtured his own calling. For 8 faithful years, Chris and his wife, Kimberly, his 7th grade sweetheart, led with compassion and conviction. Together, with their 4 children, they built not just a congregation, but a legacy of faithfulness. Yet in his heart, Chris sensed another chapter was waiting. He told Kimberly, "I'm ready to walk through whatever door God opens." And she, ever the partner in faith, simply replied, "Then let's walk it together." 3 months later, that door opened wide, back to the very group where it all began. In a full-circle moment, Chris returned to Gaither Vision, now stronger, wiser, and more seasoned in both life and ministry. Today, Chris Allman travels the country and beyond with Gaither Vision, standing not just as a tenor, but as a testimony. He has been part of more than 20 gospel recordings, and his pen continues to write lyrics that stir the soul. Through every high note and every hardship, Chris has chosen faith. Whether it was the call to sing at 11, the choice to serve at home, or the journey back to where it all began, Chris Allman reminds us that God's plan is never finished, and his purpose always finds its voice. He's not done dreaming. He's not done singing, and his story is still being written. Chris had already made his mark as a writer, vocalist, and pastor. But the moment he stepped onto that homecoming stage with Gaither Vision, It was as though every chapter of his life had prepared him for this one. The harmony was richer, the message was deeper, and the testimony undeniable. Bill Gaither has always had a unique eye for voices that don't just sing, but minister. And in Chris Allman, he found both. With his soaring tenor and humble spirit, Chris brought not only technical brilliance, but a brokenness refined by experience. That's what makes a Gaither voice unforgettable. Not just the talent, but the testimony behind it. Whether he's delivering a powerful solo like I Know a Man Who Can, or blending seamlessly with Gerald Wolfe and Rodney Griffin in perfect harmony, Chris carries with him the quiet strength of a man who has walked through fire, yet never let go of the calling.
I hear the Savior say, thy strength indeed is small. Child of weakness, watch and pray. Find in me thine all in all. Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow.
To the thousands who gather at Gaither concerts and the millions who watch from home, Chris Allman isn't just another singer on the homecoming stage. He's a reminder that God never wastes a season, that faithfulness will always find its song again, and that sometimes coming full circle is exactly what grace looks like. From church pews in North Carolina to global stages of praise, Chris Allman's story is a melody of mercy, and the Gaither Homecoming family just wouldn't be the same without him. Chris Allman's story reminds us that the call of God is not always a straight path, but it is always worth following. From singing as a young boy in a small-town church, to pastoring his own flock, to lifting up songs of hope on the world's greatest gospel stages, his life is proof that God's plans are far greater than we could ever imagine. And when Chris sings How Beautiful Heaven Must Be, he isn't just singing about a place. He's singing from a place of deep faith, of personal surrender, of heavenly anticipation. You can hear the longing, but also the peace. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're just beginning, waiting for direction, or coming full circle, let this be your reminder. God is not finished with you. His promises are still true. And yes, heaven is real, beautiful, and waiting for all who believe. Keep walking, keep singing, keep trusting, because like Chris Allman, your greatest song may still be ahead.